Defensive lineman, very productive player, and our first real injury that we've had here during the game. Hope it's not too serious for Manuel there, as you see the schools that he's considering. Going back to Houston, Jason, as you referenced, and Craig, with what Tom Herman's doing, and their decisive bowl win versus Florida State in the Peach Bowl. I was there. I walked right up. I'm looking at Tom Herman, probably 30 seconds walking up to him, and the first thing he says to me in pregame warm-up, he goes, "Have you been able to just put a shield around our guys down there? Can you block anybody from them?" I said, "Hey, that's not my problem. That's your problem. You recruit good players, other people are going to want them."
That's a lie too. The first thing they talked about were grills.
Yeah, grills. That's right.
We're talking about what's going on with the Houston Cougars, all the way up to 25 in the rankings.
And Ty Rogers played in this game a few years ago before signed with Maryland, went on to the junior college route, now in a very nice junior college pickup for the Cougars. And if you look at them on social media, it's the hashtag H-Town Takeover. And really what that is built in is the philosophy of which I believe in a successful recruiting starts at home. They need to keep the good players in the Houston area going to that university, and they've got a chance to be successful. And the foundation is in the Phi Slamma Jamma, the basketball team. 3 of those starters were Houston area guys. They said if they can do it, we can do it.
2 local kids. Wishing you a happy 2016. Certainly hope you enjoyed yourselves over the weekend. 20-0 team highlight with the lead. Tom, what are you looking for fourth quarter?
I want to look for who's going to finish. I know it's an all-star game, but I talked about competitiveness. Who's going to compete till the end? Who thinks it matters? Who wants to prove their worth? I don't care what the score is in a setting like this. If you're the best of the best, finish like it.
Outside, A.J. Brown one more time. He's had a big day wide receiver-wise for team highlight. This one comes from Malik Henry, the Florida State verbal commit, and a gain of 5.
A.J. Brown is a very talented athlete, also a very good baseball player as well. A young man who could have options down the road.
Out of Starkville High School in Mississippi, still undeclared so far. Longest play of the day for Brown, 52 yards in the first half. Long throw across the field for Henry, and he's got a first down to N'Keal Harry. You're talking about that competitive temperament. We saw it in practice this week.
Yeah, prove your worth.
This is Ace Greeno Boone, and you are listening to The Station. Keep tuning in, guys. Don't forget to go to leaguelineup.com/Scorps for all your youth sports information.
That was Ed Oliver there. Always a competitive, great effort. If you watch the skills challenge, he won the defensive line portion, and it was as smooth of a effort I've ever seen any big man go through that obstacle course. He's a tremendous athlete.
He can really turn over a tire, too. He might have a future on the side of the road or as an automotive mechanic as well.
Well, you laugh. A lot of those NASCAR pit guys are ex-NFL players. You mock, but you don't understand.
Was there a mocking tone? He's a really interesting story. His brother at Houston, he's going for family. He told us earlier this year, we had his team in September, and he said, look, I want to be around my family, so it's less the school itself and more being local.
Well, when also asked that question this week, he said, hey, New Year's Six Bowl. I mean, Houston has helped him make his choice a little bit easier as well with their performance on the field this year.
Savion Smith tangled up with N'Keal Harry, the LSU commit. Smith, he and Chauncey Gardner had a little back and forth at practice, figuring out which school was DBU, LSU, or Florida. I don't think they ever came up with an answer.
Yeah, I think they agreed to disagree. Savion Smith, he's one of those guys amongst his defensive back. We've talked about the athleticism of Levante Taylor, Nigel. Savion Smith may not run as fast as some of them, but what he is, he's football savvy. He finds a way to get around the football and make plays. Also, does a really nice job on special teams as well, not just in the return game, but getting after the kicker as well.
Henry wants the deep ball. Sideline incomplete for Deontay Mullins, who had a touchdown earlier, the Miami commit.
It's actually a pretty well-thrown football. If you're going to miss, that's where you want to miss. No danger of inside safety help, and that was just outside of the outstretched fingers there of Deontay Mullins, who made that spectacular grab in the first half, one-handed for the touchdown.
Once again, Florida State and Miami cannot agree. That's Henry, the Florida State commit, to Mullins, the Hurricane commit, and a coaching change there. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. It always is with the coaching changes, how you hang on to a player or you don't. Sometimes it's based on assistants rather than the head coaches, right?
And Miami, very good class within the top 20. Mark Richt inheriting some very good prospects, as you mentioned, though, Jason. The need to close. One of those big targets will be Sam Bruce, the wide receiver,
who goes down after a couple yards at the 26. Team Armour trying to crack the score column. 12:20 to go in the Under Armour All-America game.
This is A-Screen Boom, and you are tuned into the station.
20-0. Team Highlight with the lead over Team Armour here in Orlando at the Citrus Bowl. A game that has had so many folks go on to college football and then the NFL. And you look at the pedigree, next year's the 10th year. Guys going to the NFL draft, who may have surprised you most in terms of their success after this game? Who grew most starting with this weekend?
Well, there's been so many great players, and it's not – when you arrive to this point, you're really not a surprise. You've made a name for yourself. I think what has been most important for this game for players moving on is the eye-opening experience it gave them for how ready or not ready they are to play big-time college football. It gave them a glimpse of where their strengths are, but where their weaknesses are as well, Tom. And that's been the biggest feedback. They love everything about the week, but how it prepped them for college.
Yeah, the player I would go with is probably Cyrus Jones at Alabama, who got thrust into duty early, didn't necessarily meet the measurable standard of what their corners have been, and he struggled, and then he's developed into a fine player over the course of his entire career.
Fink, the USC commit, and another bunch of drop balls by the wide receivers today. This one's Sam Bruce.
That's a really good throw there from Matt Fink. Really the best throw he's made all day, and then you can't catch the football. Tyree Cleveland actually on what should have been the receiving end, the Houston verbal commitment, had a great week during the lead up to the game. Big, tall, probably the fastest receiver in terms of physical measurables that there is in this group, but you've got to catch that football. We talked about that in the first half.
You are listening to the station with A-Screen Boom.
Quick dump off Kareem Walker, and he's sized up beautifully. Ben Davis, the linebacker, the uncommitted number 52 in the ESPN 300.
Ben Davis, Tom, he's one of those guys when you see him amongst the other linebackers, you realize how big he is, trying to get the ball out in the flat and see Ben Davis come up with the tackle, number one, 6'4", 230 pounds, out of the state of Alabama. A lot of people feel Crimson Tide ultimately will be the team to beat, but that is a big young man. Yeah,
you see the 6'4", 237, that fits the mold of what they've wanted their linebackers to be in terms of how they play their defense, the structure of the defense, what that player has to handle in terms of the thumping inside. Really well tackled play there in the open field.
10 tackles for loss for Team Highlight on the day. Fink, 3rd and long. Scrambling, throwing on the run, and he's got a wide open target. Downfield inside the 30, Tino Ellis, the Maryland commit.
Tino Ellis, in my opinion, is going to be a player that earns his way right up the rankings off of a strong senior year in a great week. You look at him eat up cushion, stem the corner outside like he's going to run a speed cut. The corner thinks he's got safety help. But what is the safety doing? He's peeking in the backfield at a scrambling quarterback. Nice catch. Makes the first down. Get some momentum going for this Team Armour offense.
On the flip side of that, the ability of Fink to be able to buy a second chance to allow for that big play downfield to happen. Tino Ellis, one of those key in-state targets that the Terps are able to hold on to.
Kareem Walker, the number 1 running back in the country, swallowed up in the backfield once again. Benito Jones, the Ole Miss commit, blew it up.
Got corralled, and I'm not so sure he read that as properly as he should have on the delayed draw. That's a play designed to go B-gap to B-gap between the tackles and downhill, not bounce to the edge, and that's just going to give this active and athletic defensive front for Team Highlight more of an advantage.
Craig, I know you're a fan of Benito Jones and his motor.
Well, outstanding first-step quickness. He is so explosive, and you saw a glimpse right there if you were looking down in the trenches.
That ball's taken away by Levante Taylor. Should say Eric Cuffey on the return inside the 50-yard line. So Cuffey, the uncommitted defensive back, just ripped it free.
The things just are not going the way for Team Armour. This is a nice throw on the out route from Matt Fink, the USC verbal commitment. Throws it out there. You've got the catch. Now bring it down. Now it's a matter of just taking the football away. Eric Cuffey takes it away from Hammond. And that's just a great football play being made by a cover corner prospect. Credit Hammond for coming back and making the tackle, Craig.
Yeah, absolutely. But Cuffey, there was a situation where he just wanted it more. He was able to wrestle it away. One of those players, top 10 cornerback in the nation, but maybe not one of those names you hear mentioned a lot. Young man who's really had a very solid, consistent week and makes a big play here on the big stage in the Under Armour All-America game.
We talked about the alumni in this game, and he's one that mentioned when he got his jersey, he recalls Julio Jones growing up and watching him in this game. Malik Henry still in at quarterback, and Devwa Whaley with the carry.
You know what, Jason? That makes me feel really old. That was going into the 2008 class, and if you consider that, that's 9 years ago. These young men are 17 right now, and that's who they've identified with: the A.J. Greens, the Alshon Jeffries, the Manti Te'os. You know, that's the group. You know, we don't think of that group. We think of the group, you know, another 10 years beyond. You know, it's just crazy. It's crazy to me.
I talk about my favorite. I got to get out to Google, look up Art Monk. So he was a pretty good one, too.
Get out to Google.
The AJs.
What smartphone do you have? Let's go downstairs. Matt Schick and our Aspire Sideline Report.
All right, thanks, guys. I'm the guy sticking out here like a rusty penny amongst these Under Armour All-Americans here with number one player in our ESPN 300, Rashawn Gary. As soon as you came back to the sideline here, you're talking to the guys about a certain play. It's competitive. How competitive is it out there?
Oh, it's crazy. You beat run block, everybody coming to get you. So, you know, you always got to keep your hands working, keep on the move. What's
the biggest thing you've learned about not only about yourself, not only today, but this week?
You know, basically that, you know, I just got to keep fighting hard and, you know, just get coached up and, you know, just come out here and play as hard as I can.
You have got 3 sacks today in the game so far. What's been the key to piling up these numbers today in an All-American setting?
I'm playing with an All-American defensive line. They're helping me out a lot. You know, when I'm coming off the edge, my defensive end keeping his job, making sure he don't go outside of him, and I'm finishing. So, you know, my whole defensive line helping me out.
For those who maybe are just watching you for the first time today, describe what it's like to be recruited as the number one overall player.
It's hectic, but, you know, to all the recruits, you just got to stay focused and focus on the game right now. And don't focus on recruiting because you can worry about that any other time.
We have National Signing Day. It's 1 month from tomorrow. I know you know that. The decision is coming. What is this next month going to be like for you?
It's going to be hectic, you know, workouts and, you know, a lot of sitting down after homework talking about colleges.
Whaley on the run there, Matt, and a first down.
Yeah, Devra Whaley with a nice play. You guys, 20-0. We were hoping for a competitive game. Thanks a lot.
You know, that's how Team Highlight do it.
We got a month left. Give us the update. What schools are you down to for those watching?
Man, it's a lot. You know, I really don't have a specific order, but, you know, when I sit down with my mother and my family, we're going to break it down.
Your mom said she's down to 2 schools. Which 2 do you think those are?
Man, to be honest, I wish I would have knew. So I could make my decision by now.
All right, thanks a lot. Congratulations, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you, sir.
See you on National Signing Day.
How about that, Rashawn Gary? Not in the know on what are his final schools. Whaley inside the 10 for a first down. I mean, high character kind of guy, you feel like?
He said 2 things that stood out to me in that conversation. One, from a football standpoint, one of the first things he mentioned was his hands, using his hands to get off blocks. The second thing that he mentioned was from a big picture standpoint, being coachable.
Right.
He's the number one player in the country. He's got all the tools. He doesn't know everything yet. He doesn't have it all figured out. And when you remember that and realize it, the ceiling is even that much higher.
No question about it.
And Oliver again in there on Whaley for a loss on the play, 2nd and goal. You know, on Rashawn Gary, he's close with Kareem Walker, the running back we've seen for Team Armour. And Walker committed to Michigan.